Hey there, Internet. It's Amber here. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Marvel's latest, Thor 2, The Dark World, talk about some Thor comic books you might enjoy, and give you a brief explanation of the after-credit Easter egg on the movie, in case you yourself are not a comic book reader. Enjoy! So first off, let me say that I found The Dark World to be highly enjoyable. As always with the Marvel Studio movies, the characters I felt were very, very true to their comic book counterparts. They're well characterized. The stories are clearly inspired by comic book arts and comic book mythos. So I really appreciate that as a comic book fan. I liked that this film took place primarily in Asgard because I think that's where Thor shines when he's doing the mythical stuff rather than the god versus human stuff. And it was overall an enjoyable film. High points for me, I think, were the acting from Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston. Thor and Loki, they play off each other very well. I think they capture these characters as sort of this noble strongman and this hyper-intelligent trickster very well, and they play off of each other well, and you root for Thor and you also root for Loki at the same time because you appreciate him as a character. He's a multi-dimensional villain that Thor really loves him because he's his brother, and Loki really has these issues about his parentage, and I think this particularly comes across dealing with Frigga with their mother in this instance, because Loki still loves his mother, or does he? It's well put together in that way. I think the film has a good character center, if not a strong plot center. This really feels like a bridging film trying to get to the next part of Marvel Phase 2. The Marvel Phase 2 films, of course, starting with Iron Man 3, Thor 2, Captain America 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, leading up to Avengers 2. Potentially we're going to have an Ant-Man or something in there. It's not completely clear yet. But these films feel like they're building towards something bigger. So the plot line in The Dark World was nicely done. It was simple, it was fun. You had the Ether, you had Malekith the Dark Elf, which is a great Thor villain to bring in there. They did a nice job of starting off with just like an interesting makeup choice for him, I guess. He looked like a cool, creepy elf, and his elven counterparts that they didn't want to do full makeup on, they did sort of a cool battle mask on them, which I appreciated. And they did a nice job having Thor cinch his face, so you get the black and white as you have from the comics with Malekith the Dark Elf. But he was a very, very hollow villain. He rarely spoke. I think he had one line in English and the rest was in Elfish, which is fine because that's what he would be speaking. But at the same time, I wasn't really afraid of him. I didn't really feel the menace from him. I think more of the tension came from the relationships in the movie and whether or not they were going to work out, and the Thor-Loki dynamic and the Thor-Odin dynamic and the Thor-Jane Foster dynamic. Guys, I'm so tired of her. I know he had a long-running relationship with her in the comic books. I know that. But I don't like Natalie Portman. And I love Sif. And Thor is supposed to be with Sif, okay? He ends up with Sif. That's how it works. And the fact that he's not with her now is a source of endless frustration to me. Like, so I'm just throwing it out there. Bring some Enchantress in. Anyone else. But they're not well suited to each other. And I think most of their interactions were just making out because they can't have them have a real conversation because they don't really have anything to talk about. In fact, the Natalie Portman friend character, played by Kat Dennings, has a more sincere interaction with Thor because she's talking to him on the level that a mortal would interact with a god. So that was a frustration for me, that they have this central romance in the film that I don't think is any good. But that, again, is just me, and I know many people appreciate it. I just want him to be with Sif. I'm a Sif fan. What can I say? She's, a warrior woman, and she's better suited to being with Thor, in my opinion. I'm just throwing that out there. But as I said, I feel like this is sort of a bridging piece. The plot's very simple. It's another, like, there's a great evil that's going to destroy the world and only Thor can stop it. And of course, he does. I feel like this could be building up to something else because the ending of the movie, which I won't spoil for you now, leaves a lot of directions open for the next film. And I'm hoping that, as they set most of this film in Asgard, they're going to continue with that trend. And maybe we'll see the Enchantress come in, and maybe we'll see Hela come in. We'll get sort of more of the stable characters of Asgard coming in and being part of this film. I think the Warriors 3 were really well done. Again, well cast, well characterized. Heimdall, great performance from him. Really sincere. He didn't have a lot of scenes, but I really believed his performance, and I thought it was good. It was a great film all around. Really enjoyed it. Go see it. And yeah. So if you've been enjoying the Marvel films and you think you might want to get into Marvel comics, and Thor is your favorite character, and you're like, where should I start? An easy place to start is current comics, actually, because Marvel, if you're a comic book reader, you'll be aware of Marvel Now. If you're not, it's an initiative by Marvel to sort of not reset their continuity as DC did, but to open the continuity up to new readers, to sort of give you a starting point where they're creating new major plot lines. So right now we've got Thor going on with like God Butcher and God Bomb, which I'm excited to read. I haven't read those yet, admittedly, but looks really promising. If you want to go back further into Thor's back catalog, I can recommend to you the first Thor comic I actually read, collected in trade, is Thor Disassembled. Now this is back like early 2000s. But if you enjoyed the Dark World and enjoyed that sort of Asgardian setting with just the hint of Earth thrown in, I think you'll really enjoy Disassembled because it borrows heavily from not only the Marvel myth, but, well, not borrows from Marvel myth, it's part of it, but also from actual Asgardian myth. So you have a lot about Yggdrasil and about Odin's history and about the Norns woven in there, and you got a lot of cool use of rune magic, and Thor's sort of really powered up. Because a lot of times in older Marvel comics, he's sort of kind of a jokey character because he's, forsooth and yea verily, and it's not as strong. But I really enjoy that particular comic. He's sort of coming into his own there. It gets very serious, and then you have him gone from the world for a while, and then you get a later reboot, and he comes back in, and Asgard's floating above Earth. It's all kind of neat. It's a neat thing to get into if you want to try a comic book. The other thing I recommend is Oathblood. It's just sort of a standalone short story involving Thor and the Warriors 3. It was a lot of fun. And then if you're a Loki fan and you're just really into these movies for Loki and you think he's great in all the Avengers movies and everything, there's actually a Loki miniseries that's collected into trade now. I think it's 2007 it came out. It's not perhaps the attractive and charming Loki you'd be used to, but it's really gorgeous painted art, and it's a brilliantly told story, and it's very emotional and poignant. And I quite like that. So if you're looking for a comic starring Loki, read Loki, the 2007 trade from the mini. It's very strong. The other thing I might recommend to you comic book-wise, which Marvel created for this purpose if you've never read a comic book, is to look at the Ultimate Universe. Specifically, look at the Ultimates, because that's sort of where the Avengers was drawn from. The 616 universe, which is the extended universe for Marvel. It's really big, and it's got a lot of continuity. It's got a lot of overlapping stories and histories and characters and stuff. And it's great when you get fan service, and those come in from original Thor comics, and then Planet Hulk, and it's an alien race. But if you don't know all those things, and you don't want to be burdened down with all those things, and knowing those things, and feeling like you're missing a joke all the time, you can try the Ultimates line, because it was rebooted as its own universe, so it had no history or no strings attached, and they came in and they told these big bombastic stories, and a lot of those lines actually you'll see, frame for frame in some of the films. which is kind of cool if you like book movie comparison sort of things. So check out these various comics if you're into comics. If you're looking for a starting point, these are some good ones to dive in, specifically if you're looking for Thor or Avenger comics. Yeah, comics are good. So I really appreciate, as a comic book fan, that they put a lot of things into these movies for the comic books. But I know every time I go to one of them with a non-comic book family member or friend, and we see those little, like, those after credit Easter egg films, they're always looking at me, they're like, okay, but what? So I thought I'd give you a little explanation on the after credit Thor Easter egg, because it was one of the most obtuse so far, I think. So you're getting Sif showing up on this spaceship, and that's what it is. She's in space, she's on a spaceship, and this is the Collector's ship. And the Collector is one of the Elders of the Universe. He's one of several beings that are, like, very powerful, very ancient. Obviously, Elder of the Universe, you'd be old. Characters like the Grandmaster and the Gardener are other such characters. That's not especially important, but he's this very ancient character, and he's part of this sect that's sort of charged with keeping balance in the universe, and because he's so powerful, he can kind of do whatever the crap he wants all the time. So you have him there. He's getting this what we assume, and what most, I think, people assume is the ether. And they mention that the Tesseract is being kept on Asgard, which is the cosmic cube. And apparently they are choosing to turn both of these items, or make them in this movie universe, into the Infinity Gems, which they refer to as the Infinity Stone in the movie. And they say it's not good to keep them together. So there are 6 Infinity Stones, or Infinity Gems from the comic books, that are collected into the Infinity Gauntlet. If you remember at the Easter egg at the end of the Avengers movie, the big purple guy that shows up, that's Thanos. And this is where we're leading with the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. That's going to be the next big team movie. So this is the movie they're building up to with these Easter eggs. The Guardians of the Galaxy is sort of an assembly of different alien races. Like, right now there's a tree and a sentient raccoon and a human on it. And, you know, a green guy who's, like, used to be big and dumb and strong, is now still strong, but is, like, smarter because he shrank. But Drax. But there's an assembly of colorful characters, essentially, that are a galactic peacekeeping squad, and they're going to be fighting the purple guy. They're going to be fighting Thanos. And Thanos' big thing is that he assembles these gems into this gauntlet, and these gems have various names, that they control reality, or they control space, or they control mind, or they control, you know, each different colored gem has a different aspect of our universe that it can control, essentially. So he's assembling these. And we've already seen 2, because they're making the Cosmic Cube, or the Tesseract, one, and they're making the Ether another one. So we see these things are going to be assembled. We have Thanos showing up, so he's going to play a part, and we're leading up to this big cosmic smackdown that's going to come forward in these movies, and we've got Elders of the Universe playing in, we've got Thanos. Thanos is an avatar for death, who's a shapely lady with a skull face that he's hot for, so he wants to kill a bunch of people to please her, so it's going to be very exciting. I hope that made any sense at all. But, thank you for watching. Watch Thor. It's relatively spoiler-free, I hope, so check out some comics. If you want other comic suggestions, you can send me messages, and I'll definitely try to hook you up with something. I'm on a mission to get more people to read comics. Yeah, enjoy the film. Enjoy this film. I don't know how to end it.